We're live!
Hello everyone, we got another midweek screening this week for Crazy Rich Asians. Last week the midweek screening was Dog Days that they reminded us of in there when we went to go get tickets. The girl was like, I had no idea this movie was even coming out today, and the same thing happened last week with Dog Days. The other girl next to her is like, the hell is Dog Days? She's like, I don't know, I didn't go see it, I just knew it came out on Wednesday of last week.
And then you were like, well, I'll tell you.
Oh, I'll tell you about fucking Dog Days.
How much time you got?
Exactly. How long was our video? 30-some minutes. Well, also, if you want us to talk.
I want to hear about previews.
You want to hear about the previews as well. So how you feeling after the fair food yesterday? My stomach's used to it. I'm all right.
I'm fine stomach-wise. We were walking so much, so like,
okay.
I'm just hobbling through my days.
Yeah, my feet hurt a little bit. Stomach's fine. I didn't need Pepto this time. I still took some, though, just in case.
We didn't eat so many greasy things this year. We must have just ate, like, weird things.
Yeah, usually it's both. Yeah, that's true. This time it was sort of like, I don't think we've done that before. I don't think we've had pot roast on nachos. Sure, let's do that. So that video is up, by the way. I posted that earlier today. That's this year's state fair video. We do gizzards,
we ate
frog
spinach
legs,
pie, which is basically health food.
Yeah, just a block of cheese dipped in like fucking rye.
Yeah, that was less health food.
Or something like that with some honey mustard on the side. So yeah, go check that out. That video's up. Anyway, we just got out of Crazy Rich Asians, which is based on a book, I believe.
I guess.
Yeah, so that answers my next question, whether or not you've read the book.
Oh yeah, I've read it 20 times. No, it seems like a book I'd enjoy. This is sort of it's a pretty standard romantic comedy, but it was well executed.
That's a really, really good way to put this, because throughout the movie I was thinking, I've seen this kind of movie before. Quite a few times. A lot of the different plot points it's making, it's just a better version of a lot of different things, because it is total wealth porn. Yeah. Which puts it in the same league as the two Sex and the City movies. But it is way goddamn better than that. Like, it's the plot of the movie you could use to describe a bunch of different movies. It's she is a professor who teaches economics, and so she doesn't come with a lot of money, from a lot of money. Has been dating a dude for about a year, and then they go off to Singapore to meet his parents because there's his brother is getting married. Brother or sister?
I think it's his friend.
Oh, it's his friend
from school.
Okay. So they're going to Singapore for a wedding, and that's when his girlfriend finds out he comes from an insane amount of wealth.
Comes from Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, as the title suggests. So they're among like the wealthiest family in the country and maybe even the world. So she's kind of, fish out of water in with all of these rich people and seeing what their lifestyle and customs are like. So it's having a lot of fun there with their just insane, cartoonish, extravagant lifestyle. But it's also got the plot where, his mother is the stern, rich mother who doesn't want him to marry the young girl who's Chinese American. So they're both kind of butting heads a little bit. And it is, as far as the wealth aspect of the movie goes, it is a lot better than sitting through something like one of the Sex and the City movies. Like, this actually has, like, some heart to it. And it's also better than, like, if it were really lazy with this mom plot. It never goes, like, full monster-in-law territory. Or, like, Meet the Parents. It's never like, oh, she spilled wine and then the barn's on fire. Like, it's never anything like that. It is rom-com steps you've seen before. It just is... It is treating its audience like adults, like not just there to see pratfalls. Like, the people in this movie, they feel like real people.
Well, Jeong is in this movie.
I'll get to that in a minute. Believe me, I'll get to that in a minute. But when the mother and the main character, the girl, are like sitting there at the end, like actually like having a conversation with each other and things like that. They feel like real people. The mother doesn't seem just like this two-dimensional monster throughout this movie. Like, they set her up as a real person.
Yeah, she doesn't approve of the girlfriend, and then it sort of comes out as the movie progresses that she had been in a position where she wasn't approved of.
Yeah.
And she kind of clawed her way to the position that she's in, and she just didn't figure that Constance Wu was going to cut it. And so she's just like, no, you won't do.
Yeah.
So you should probably just go ahead and go home. And then it's like I liked that the main girl character kind of had a certain degree of agency throughout the movie. It wasn't just like, oh, I want to be with this guy, but his family doesn't like me. It was kind of like, well, this is the situation I'm in. What should I do about it? I'll use my smarts. Yeah. And like even at the end when everything gets figured out, it's because of decisions that she made and not circumstances that happened to her, which can happen a lot in romantic comedies.
Yeah, she's not moping through this whole movie or anything like that. Yeah,
she has a little bit of a mope period.
Yeah, but
it's like, it's not because like, oh, people were mean to me. It's like, oh, I had this revelation about a humongous part of my life that I didn't know, and it happened at a super traumatic point.
Yeah, if she wasn't moping in that scene, she'd be a psychopath.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Like when the movie calls for it at that point in the film, it really works, because the movie, it does have a heavy amount of humanity to it. Like it's a likable film. Like I was rooting for this couple in the film. Like she's really good. The dude is charming as hell.
He was suave, motherfucker.
Yeah, that guy was cool. Like he was charismatic as fuck. Maybe I've seen him in something else, but I can't think off the top of my head of what. But damn, yeah, he was really, really good in this film. Both of them were. They had solid chemistry together, and no, I was really rooting for this couple to I mean, like, you know how this kind of movie's gonna end, but like I was sitting there like, yeah, I really want this couple to end up together in this film. For sure.
And I think the humanity of those two characters was what made the kind of like floppy standard rom-com characters that were like orbiting them palatable, because like we had the goofy best friend who was played by Awkwafina, and she was
that's who that was.
I liked her. I thought she was fine. She was definitely playing the character that she was playing, but it was to an excellently pulled off straight man. And then Ken Jeong was her dad, and that like it was sort of like basically they kept coming back to them to remind us it was a romantic comedy and not just like a drama. And they had the gay best friend who just kind of stood up like, okay, everyone, I've arrived.
Yeah, no, he was fine. He certainly fit all of that kind of like, just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, hell, this movie's got a bachelor party that's on like a freaking,
sounds like a cargo ship.
Like a fucking cargo ship with random fireworks going off.
Hollowed it out and put like pools and stuff in there, basically so they could go out into international waters and fire t-shirt cannons at each other. That
dude kind of realistically fit along with all this wild stuff that's kind of going on. There were some... I did enjoy this movie, but I didn't think it was flawless. Like, sometimes it kind of struggles with tone a little bit.
Well, they also, like, the other standard rom-com character that I wanted to mention was the secretly evil nemesis girl. And that's, like, it's not my favorite when they do that, and I don't feel it was really necessary in this movie, except that perhaps it's a cultural thing. But they didn't overplay their hand on that one. She kind of just like showed up, was a cunt, and then left.
Yeah, you're right, because I had to stop and think for a sec. Oh, right, that was a character in this movie.
Yeah, she just like gutted a dead fish and put it in the girl's bed.
That was weird. Like, yeah, like suddenly there's a gutted fish in her bed with like gold digging bitch written on the window. At first I thought it was written in blood, but then I was like,
I think it's lipstick.
Yeah, but the bed was all bloody. I'm like, is this a thriller now? Like, for 5 seconds, the movie feels like a stalker thriller.
And they didn't pull their punch because there was like fish entrails just like down the bed.
And like it does the whole third act breakup thing, which you've seen in every rom-com
it's like, okay, it's time for them to break up, I guess.
Yeah, it does that, and that gets a little soap opera-y, but Ken Jeong, man, this movie didn't need that. This movie was already a little bit over 2 hours. He could have easily been cut out of this film. He's really only in it for one scene and then briefly again later on. But when he showed up in it, honestly...
It's like slid into frame and you could hear it like...
Yeah, this movie grinded to a halt. Like, this movie just stopped for that scene. And even Awkwafina's stuff too, but like with the scene with Ken Jeong and his family, it felt like suddenly this movie stopped, and then the sitcom spin-off of it began playing. Like
Meet the Clumps almost. Like, here's Awkwafina's family.
Or like
this guy, these weirdos.
You're sitting there watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and then at one point it stops, and the sitcom My Big Fat Greek Life starts playing. Like... And you liked Awkwafina's stuff in this movie?
I thought she had some good one-liners, and I liked that, like, her and gay best friend teamed up to kind of, like, help her out. Plus, I liked her having an ally, you know? I think that it made it less tense for me, because like, tenseness like this I don't enjoy it. Like, it doesn't give me a vicarious thrill.
Yeah.
I just feel anxious, and it's not enjoyable. And so I think that having, like, her friend there as sort of like a base camp, even if she was kind of like wacky, like it made the movie better for me. Not vice versa.
I like that character's role in the film because of everything that you just said. Like, I understand why there's a sidekick best friend who's there to be the comic relief. That's fine. I understand the character's role in it. I did not like her in this movie. I didn't think she was funny. She felt like she was from a completely different movie. She felt like she was...
I like that, though.
I didn't. For me, it felt like it just didn't belong in this universe. It felt like suddenly, here comes this Saturday Night Live style character to Kate McKinnon the fuck out of this role.
I like Kate McKinnon. Well, because, like, too, the vast difference in tone kind of made the scenes that were, like, overt wealth porn less overt, because they'd be like, they'd pull up to this big fancy house, there's like guards, and like there's this huge sweeping pan to see like the vast palatial estate, and Awkwafina jumps out like, oh word, let me check in my trunk and see if I've got a costume I could change into.
And I agree with that in theory, but in this it felt like it was just a sketch on the Ellen DeGeneres show is suddenly happening in this movie that it tonally didn't work for me. Like, if I found it funny, that would be one thing, but she was so over the top that it was taking me out of it every time. It just didn't feel like this was an actual person. Just there to kind of just function as what she was doing in the movie, which was...
Function as a base camp.
Yeah, as the comic relief and as that kind of character. I just didn't think it was a very good comic relief, but it didn't ruin the movie for me. Because, I mean, she comes in just every now and then.
And she does have another ally, come to think of it, because that cousin, Astrid, I think, who had, like, her own subplot where she had, like, a poor husband, and then it, like, spoiler alert, turns out that he's cheating on her.
Oh,
and she had, like, because she was a very subdued character, but every time she stood up on screen, like, I couldn't stop looking at her.
Right? Same here, yeah.
Because she was such a subtle performance, but you could, like, as you were following her, they're like, okay, figuring out what to do about this cheating fuck of a husband.
I know, like, I was kind of into that too. Like, it's totally a subplot in the film, but I was way more invested in that than I was anything going on with, like, Ken Jeong and Awkwafina. But yeah, that I was like, no, that was pretty good. That subplot was working for me, and it did have to do with her. Yeah. Like, her performance was really freaking solid. And before I forget, so like when it's the wedding scene in the movie, when it's the wedding scene in the film, Laura went to go see the movie with us too, and like, when she and I got married, she was like, I just want a really small wedding. I lean over and I'm like, you sure you didn't want it like this? It's this insane-ass wedding in the movie. It was gorgeous.
They showed a clip of it in the preview, and I was confused, because I thought it was like the romantic lead girl. I'm like, did they get married in this thing? Because that's pretty fast. But no, it was their friend's wedding that they were at. Yeah. And they had done it up to be kind of like a secret garden. Yeah. And like an aisle coming up with sort of like some flowers laid on it, that like some kids had gone and thrown it. It was all very cute and wedding-y, and then all of a sudden just like water starts running down the aisle, and it gets to be about ankle height, and then everyone pulls out the branches they've been giving with like fairy lights at the end, and the bride takes off her shoes and just walks ankle deep. She's got this wedding gown that's like short in the front and then long in the back, and it's in the water, and she doesn't give a fuck because she's rich, and her legs are just covered in glitter. It's like so performative.
It's crazy, man. And like, also, this is now the second movie in a row that I've seen, that you and I have seen in a row, that I'm fairly certain has emo trailer girl in the movie. First it was Dog Days, and now it's this. I don't know if it's the same person in both movies, but like in this, I'm sitting there like, it's happening again. She's escaped from the trailers and is now infiltrating the actual movies.
They hired her for a wedding. They can afford her. They're rich.
Yeah, she's singing Elvis in the movie.
Yeah, Can't Help Falling in Love.
Yeah, she's singing that in the film. And again, I was like, this is just gonna start happening in the actual movies. No, but it was a very beautiful wedding.
Yeah, and the whole movie had like Chinese covers of American songs, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, they do.
They had like
Material
Yellow
Girl
by Coldplay at the end.
Yeah, Yellow. They have Material Girl. I can't, because but you best believe there's a clothes changing montage in this film. No, this was an entertaining movie. It was longer than it needed to be.
Yeah,
it's a little over 2 hours. There's things that, even looking at it, I was like, you could cut some of this. But you know what, overall it's a really likable movie. The two leads are really sweet together. You do root for them as a couple. They don't just turn their protagonists and antagonists into just two-dimensional caricatures. It just kind of is a better version of a lot of different movies that are out there. So it's a decent movie.
It's nice to see a movie with like just an all Asian cast, cast like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it sounded like it's definitely an audience film. Mm-hmm. I actually see this movie doing fairly well, because audiences who are going to go see a movie like this are probably going to really like this a lot.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of couples in the audience.
Yeah, there were.
I was surprised for like an opening night on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it was kind of crowded
so
in there.
Like Wednesday is not date night, but like a bunch of dates took their dates to go see it.
Yeah, it's Wednesday night, baby.
But you don't see a lot of straight rom-coms anymore. It's all like YA shit.
What is the last rom-com that we went to go see? I mean, I know there's got to be
hard pressed to think of one.
There's
We saw some previews for them, so they must be having a resurgence.
Yeah, we should get to those so that Laura and I could talk about the movie we watched earlier today.
What movie did you watch earlier today?
Billionaire Boys Club. It's...
Is it also based on a book?
That review. No, it's based on a real thing, like this Ponzi scheme from the 80s. Yeah, Laura and I will talk about that later. It's... yeah, I think it's sitting at a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the flashlights. I'm not just shining it at you guys.
Oh my god. The lights are dim, so the trailers are starting.
So Second Act, which is that J-Lo movie where she's like lying about her resume so she can have a job.
That movie looks like the most forgettable movie of 2005. Like,
well, it's J-Lo, you don't expect to see her back.
No, that...
take all her jeans money and just...
Yeah, it's going to be this year's Home Again. That Reese Witherspoon movie we went to go see last year. That also looked like it was 12 years too late.
I think I saw Griffin Newman in the preview. Although if it was him, he was wearing like a weird wig. Mm-hmm. But he's just got that like pasty face Bud Cort in his prime sort of earnestness.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think he was the guy that she was talking to. No, that's the other preview. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead because What Men Want...
Oh, I missed that trailer.
That was the first time I'd seen that trailer. And it looked really good.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
Look intelligent, but it looks...
Well, sure.
It looks better than What Women Want, and I enjoyed What Women Want.
I like What Women Want. I actually saw a little bit of that again, like a year or so ago, because Laura was watching it, and I was catching it kind of here and there as she was watching it. And because I hadn't seen it since it came out in theaters, but when I glanced over a few times, I was like, okay, this is still fine. Like, I was still getting laughs when I was looking over at it. She enjoyed it. But no, I wish I saw that trailer. I haven't seen that trailer yet. So, no, that...
Yeah, look it up and watch it, because, like, I'm really looking forward to this movie now.
Does it at all tie into the first one, or is it just...
Not that I could see, just because, like, she works at, like, a sports firm, seems like, and she's expecting to make partner sports, and the guy's like, oh, I'm gonna throw the football to the person who made partner, and he throws it, and she catches it, he's like, no, it's for the guy behind you, and she's like, ah, damn it. So she goes to, like a priestess, I guess, some sort of, like, weird, it was basically the lady from, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
And she, like, gives her some, like, peyote tea, and then she goes to a concert and hits her head, wakes up the next morning, she can hear men's thoughts. And so she's going to use that to leverage herself into a better job. And in this one, it seems like she fucking deserves that shit, whereas in what women wanted was just him being a shitheel.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's good that they both have different arcs going on. And I mean, it sounds similar to the first one in this. Didn't he work for, like, a ladies' garment company in the first one?
No, he worked for an advertisement firm. Oh. And they did all, like, the beer commercials. And then they hired a woman so they could do, like, lady commercials. That's
right, because he went home and was trying the stuff on and fell into the bathtub. Right, okay. Yeah, well, that could be funny.
He used his powers to ruin Helen Hunt's career.
But he learned a lesson.
Yeah, God fucking thank you. Searching, which...
That looks good.
That preview gives me palpitations.
I hear that's pretty good.
Sundance Awards all over the preview, so it's probably, like, objectively good. I'm just not watching it.
That sounds like something Dave and I will be at, because we've seen the other, like, shot from the point of view of a laptop movies.
I'll be interested in seeing what Dave thinks of it, because I think one of the comments was saying that, like, Dave's new catchphrase was "as a father." And this movie being about, like, a dad realizing that he doesn't know his college-age daughter, even though, like, they were really close when she was young, and her going missing and him not knowing how long she's been missing. Like, if I was a dad with a daughter, I'd be even further away from the movie that I planned to be.
Yeah.
Night School.
I went to use the restroom in that trailer. I've seen it a bunch of times, but unfortunately, that's why I missed the What Men Want trailer.
But that looks like a Kevin Hart movie.
No,
I love Tiffany Haddish.
I do too. I do like Tiffany Haddish. Honestly, that movie could kind of go either way. I've just gotten that trailer a bunch of times, so I'm like, yeah, bathroom break.
It did have, like, more to it than I'd seen in other trailers. Like, apparently one of her teaching methods was to, like, take him into the boxing ring and punch him in the face until he knows the answers to questions, which doesn't seem the greatest solution. But... Well,
since it's in a comedy universe, that's perfectly normal.
He gets one of the questions right, and then she farts in his face. And that's a gas!
Yeah, that trailer, even that kickboxing trailer, I've seen that one a bunch of times.
So then, What Men Want, and then The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, which looks like this is a darker trailer than the ones I've seen before, because I thought they were just doing, like, straight The Nutcracker with sort of, like, a vestigial plot stitched onto it, but this is more like, it seemed more like Alice in Wonderland, where they, put more of a plot, like, more addition than original material.
I really want that movie to be good, because it looks like, at the very least, it's going to be pretty.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, at the very least, it's going to be gorgeous. I
love watching people dance, too.
And no, same. I just don't want it to turn into Alice in Wonderland, and I'm so getting some of those vibes from this movie.
Like, you're going to walk by the Hot Topic, and it's going to be this wall-to-wall Nutcracker shit.
Oh, well, I think that's going to happen regardless if the movie's good or not. The movie could be great, and that shit's still going to happen. Yeah, I really want that to be good, but I'm going in, like, cautiously optimistic, I guess is the right word.
Because I feel like my knowledge of the Nutcracker plot is shoddy at best, but I feel like the Rat King is, like, the main villain in it, right?
I don't know.
But the villain in this preview is someone called, like, the Ginger Queen.
Oh, okay.
And I swear to God, she looked familiar. I don't know if she's, like, in a Doctor Who or what, but I don't know, she looked sufficiently terrifying, but insufficiently rat-like.
Not enough rats.
Yes, boo. 0 stars. More rats.
That'll be the stinger at the end credits.
Operation Finale, which is the Oscar Isaac one.
Okay, yeah, that trailer, I was like, because Ben Kingsley plays
Nazi.
Adolf, he plays Himmler. And it looked like it might be really, really good, because it's about them
extricating him from Argentina so he could stand trial.
Yeah, and I was like, this looks like it might be pretty suspenseful, but then when I saw the release date, I was like, oh, I don't know about this, because I've never heard of this movie until now, and it comes out in, like, 2 weeks.
No, I swear we've gotten previews for this one before, because the last time I was like, that's Nick Kroll, isn't it? And this time I was like, that's Nick Kroll, isn't it?
I must have gone to use the restroom then when it was on, because this is the first time I saw it. Are you sure you're not thinking of Loving?
think so. Was that the Colin Firth one?
No, Loving was the one with Joel Edgerton, where he was in an interracial marriage in the 60s in the South.
No, this was definitely like a Nazi, like trying to get a Nazi out of the place.
Oh, okay. No, this is the first time I saw this trailer.
Almost murdering him 20 times because the fucking Nazi.
The last time I can think of, when I got a trailer for something that I hadn't seen before, and at first I was like, that might be alright, but then saw, wait, it comes out next week, was Tulip Fever.
Oh, no!
So, I don't know, I hope this movie's gonna be good. It's got a great cast and, like, a great plot.
Imagine it could be worse than Tulip Fever was.
I don't think it's gonna be Tulip Fever bad.
The Hate You Give.
So this is the one where it's the girl, the black student who she's going to like
a private school, and you think it's going to be like a fish out of water story because she's like having to act white when she's at the private school because it's predominantly white, and then when she goes home she can actually like express herself. But then shit fucking turns in the preview because she's like in a car with like her friend who's not her boyfriend, but he's like, we got all the time in the world. And then he gets fucking shot by the cops because he pulls a hairbrush out of the car when he gets pulled over, and it turns into like this like riot.
It turns into an activist film. Yeah. Like, she becomes, like, hardcore into activism, and I love so much that they trolled the audience at Death of a Nation by putting that trailer in front of it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Dave and I
What was the reaction?
The reaction was a bunch of old racists in the theater going...
Blue Lives Matter, too!
Dave and I were just cracking the fuck up. They were like, whoever put this trailer in front of this movie knew what they were fucking doing.
Oh, that's great. And The Nun, which the young lady behind me was having none of.
Yes. I love that trailer, because I love that trailer for... It's got a pretty killer jump scare in that trailer, and it gets the audience every single time that trailer comes on. So whenever the trailer for The Nun pops up, I'm like, oh, sweet, especially when it's in a crowded theater. I'm like, oh, there's going to be so much shit in their pants. No, but I should. Next time I'm at something by myself, maybe I'll sit in the back or something.
There's always movies like that, too. Because I'll just be sitting there like, man, this looks stupid.
Yeah, I do want to see that.
That came out of nowhere.
With the exception of the first Annabelle movie, I've really liked all the other, like, Conjuring universe movies. So, yeah, like, I really do want to see that. I hope that's good.
They look pretty scary. That Nun comes out of nowhere.
It does look very scary.
And then A Star Is Born, which they need to fucking release the soundtrack for.
Yeah.
Because that song keeps getting stuck in my head where she's like, whoa!
Exactly.
And it's like, I tried to find it on, it's not on Spotify yet, and I looked on YouTube, and someone had just, like, done a clean cut of the song he sings at the beginning, the Baby Let the Old Ways Die, and then the clean version of the Shallow, which is the second song in there. But it's only the bits that's in the trailer. I want to hear the whole song.
Yeah.
So fucking get on that.
I probably will buy that soundtrack too, honestly. Like, that's a remake I'm really looking forward to.
And that's it.
And then that was it. All right, well, Laura and I are gonna be back here in just a little bit, honestly. Like, we are reviewing 2 movies tonight, but it's a movie we watched earlier, so I'm gonna head back to the house, and Laura and I are gonna be back to review Billionaire Boys Club. All right, everyone. See ya.